So I am making this video to talk about my family tree. I'm going back onto my mom's side to talk about my mom's upbringing and how my grandma and my grandpa raised them and how they were raised as well. My grandma, I call her Nanny. Her name is Flora Jeanette Breedlove. She was born August 29th, 1942. She grew up in Cokesbury, North Carolina with her father, Vernon Mansfield Breedlove, and her mother, Annie Flora Breedlove. Her father was a farmer in Henderson, North Carolina. He grew tobacco. And her mother was a teacher in Henderson. She grew up an only child, which, as she has expressed to me in the past, was very lonely. So she had the dream to kind of get out there and become a teacher and go to college and all that stuff and get out of Henderson. So she went to Lewisburg College as soon as she finished high school. And whenever she went to Greensboro College in North Carolina. She met my grandfather, Ronald Seeley, in Lewisburg College, and then they had both transferred out of Lewisburg College. He went to Wake Forest, and that's when she went to Greensboro. After they met each other and got through school in North Carolina, they moved to Burlington, North Carolina for a little bit, and then moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. My grandpa, Ronald, wanted to get his law degree at University of Tennessee in Knoxville. He went to law school in 1965 until 1968, and they both lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. My grandfather also got his master's degree in education while he was getting his law degree as well. Right after they moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, and he finished in 1968. They then moved to Fairfax, Virginia for a year. Flora, my nanny, was a teacher, and Ronald, my grandfather, was an Office of Education Fellow. They moved to Rochester, New York the following year, and my grandfather received a job as a professor in the University of Rochester, and my grandmother Flora was teaching there as well. And while she was teaching, she was also going to college to complete her master's degree to become a guidance counselor. They gave birth to their firstborn, Flora Ann Seeley, which is my mom, in 1971 on April 12th. And this was also in Rochester, New York. And in the summer of 1971, they all three moved to Carbondale, Illinois. My grandfather became a professor at Southern Illinois University, and my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom. They had my Aunt Dawn in 1972, and then she was also still a stay-at-home mom until they moved to Henderson. They moved back to Henderson for a few months to live with my nanny's parents, and then moved from Henderson to Cary. My grandfather wanted to open up a deli cream, which sold like ice cream and pizza and stuff like that in Apex. And the building is actually still there. However, the deli cream only stayed open for like a year. He wanted to become a professor again, so they went up to Boston and he became a professor at Boston College. They were there for about a year, and then my grandmother decided that she wanted to get a divorce. She packed up and moved my mother and my Aunt Dawn to Reno, Nevada, and was working in Lemon Valley, Nevada for about a school year. And then she finally moved back to North Carolina with my mom and her sister. They had moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and my grandmother was a guidance counselor in Fayetteville, North Carolina until 1999. Something that I find interesting about my mother's upbringing and comparing it to how my mom decided to raise my sister and I is that she created a very stable house and environment for my sister compared to what she had. My parents have been married for almost 26 years now, and I was raised in I've lived in 3 houses growing up, and I moved into that third one whenever I was 4 years old, and my parents still live there. So it's just a very different upbringing than what she was, and I think that has a lot to do with the environment that she decided to provide for my sister and I, and why she worked so hard on her marriage with my dad and everything else. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a great night. Bye.